talk about that Darrick Minner fight. Came out against Charles Rosa, looked awesome. I think he looked really good because Charles Rosa is a beast, especially on the ground. And obviously, you had your eye on that fight. Let's talk about yourself. You come out in UFC debut. The whole of Canada's expecting a lot from you, and the rest of the world. We were backing you over in the UK. We love to see TJ Laramie or the Laramie boys fight at all. Your brother Tony as well. Always good to see. And obviously, you come out shooting on the takedown and get choked out in about 50 seconds. What went wrong from your side?
Personally, I just feel like the lead up to the fight, as far as training, wasn't really ideal. I came off it was a pretty quick turnaround from the Contender Series. It's only about 4 weeks, something like that. And just like the quarantine rules between Canada and the US made it a little difficult. So essentially I went and planned like a 2-week stay with my girlfriend in a province in Canada that I don't know anybody besides her, so I get the call maybe 4 days into being there. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, it was a really good matchup for me. I didn't want to say no to the fight. I didn't think there was a better opportunity to make my UFC debut, especially I felt like I was like probably one of the more hyped up people coming off the Contender Series last season. And I felt I just wanted to keep the ball rolling. But unfortunately, the circumstances weren't the best for me. I'm a man, I made the choice to fight. I walked in the cage at the end of the day. But yeah, I feel like as far as the actual fight went, I just feel like I put myself in the bad position. Like I almost like handed him the win at that point. I don't feel like he did anything exceptional. And to go to his fight on the weekend, I've never seen him fight that intelligently in his whole career. If you look at his record, it's all like if it's not done in the first 2 minutes, it's usually he's gonna more than likely lose. Like I don't know how many decisions he's won, but it's not very many. Like that's probably one of 5 maybe decisions he's ever won in his career out of 30 something fights. Yeah, so I just feel like if I were to fight him again, it would be a totally different circumstance. I had a little injury as far as I had a grade 2 strain in my LCL going into it a little bit. So I wasn't really able to grapple or get any live training in, but there's a lot of pressure, man, when you signed a fight and you don't want to be the guy who's pulling out a week or 2 before his fight, like I feel like that makes you look bad and you're preparing to get paid. I feel like if I learned anything from that experience, it would be more like longevity of your career versus the short term trying to just take the fight and muscle through it, but if there's anything I learned, it was that for sure.
Yeah, I'd say it was one of those fights that when a fight ends that quickly, it isn't always based around, this fighter was better. It's MMA. Anything can happen in these fights. And it was a really weird transition. Now, when you're in a guillotine up against the side of the cage and you're on the side where you can't even gain that side control to even alleviate that pressure, it was one of those moments as well. So, and again, Darrick Minner, he's a tough guy. Now, there's something to be said about the team that he's training out there at the minute with. He's with James Krause, and what James Krause is doing is unbelievable. And I think that says something to what you say about that fight IQ. Not always going in there to finish it straight away and actually showing that you are the better mixed martial artist, no matter where this goes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt. That's exactly what I felt he showed on the weekend too, is that he kind of there was a couple circumstances where he probably could have tried to go for the kill, like when he dropped Rosa at one point, but instead, he took the fight where he was dominating on top. Didn't really go for a lot of submissions, where he's usually hunting for a submission all the time. So good on him for, he definitely made improvements.
Yeah, almost took a TJ Laramie style to that fight. It was more going for the ground and pound, changing the positions and the transitions as opposed to submissions. And let's talk a bit more about yourself as well. You've got a fight that's been scheduled now, coming up. When's that scheduled now? You'll be able to tell me.
May 1st.
1st of May, because I know it's just before my birthday. It's a May card. So I'm excited for this one. It's against Damon Jackson. Now, I know the irony of this matchup won't be wasted on you either. Like you just said, you went out, you did get choked out in your last fight, and Damon Jackson, not to say he's a one-trick pony, but he loves the guillotine. That is his trick. And to be fair, the best fight I've seen out of him was a fight he was very much losing against Mirsad Bektic, who is very up there in the division without a doubt, and then got that guillotine choke, went for the first time, went the second time, and then went the third. Now, I know this won't be wasted on you. Talk to me a bit about this matchup, what you've been doing in training, and why you're so ready to go and show the world what you're about.
Man, with 10 weeks to go, I got a lot of time to prepare, but I was expecting to fight a lot sooner. So, I was getting ready. I was training hard just in case, I was maybe hoping to fight at the end of March or the beginning of April type thing at the beginning. Right. So, but they hit me with May 1st and I'm like, I wasn't upset about it. It gives me more time to prepare. And, Damon Jackson, it's pretty obvious what he's good at and pretty obvious what he's bad at. I don't really think he's much of a well-rounded mixed martial artist. Like, I don't know how many knockouts he has, but if he has any knockouts, it's likely like TKO, ground and pound type stuff. He obviously isn't good on the feet. You see his last fight, 2 of his last 4, he's been knocked out. Even his fight he won against Bektik there, like you said, he was getting mauled the majority of the fight and pulled the choke out at the end. But he is tough. He's super gritty and he knows how to win. He's 18-4. It's not like he's got a terrible record. He's fought a lot of good guys. I just don't think he has the athleticism or the skill, or especially on the feet to compete with me. Like, to get me to the ground, I haven't spent a lot of time on my back in my career. Maybe less than 3 minutes, probably my total career on my back. So for him to try to take me down is going to be tough for him. And he's going to have a long night on the feet if he thinks he's going to stand up there. I just don't feel like he has the power to really hang with me on the feet or the speed.
Yeah, I think you're right when we talk about matchups. This is one of those matchups that I believe could be really, really good for you, because let's be honest, Damon Jackson wants to get you down to the ground, and TJ Laramie is known for his wrestling base, and you've got great transitions as well. You're very fast at getting in and out in between, and maybe this has something to do with maybe you being at 5'6" and the fighters that you're fighting like Damon Jackson being at 5'11". You are lower, you're harder to get down, and I believe he will be reaching a lot with this fight. And in these transitions, that's where I believe that you're going to take over and show what you're about. Your striking is something that is really, really good as well. And I'd like you to show a little bit more of that. It's going to be a good, fun fight to see you in this. I can't wait to see you back, man.